everyone, this is Payanna and welcome back to my channel. So I'm here to give you part 3 and hopefully the final part of the Oksa Pollock The Forest of Lost Souls review, which is just insanely long, and I'm going to try and get through this without losing my mind this time, so yeah. So I'm now on chapter 45 and they have found themselves back inside the forest, so they've basically gone back to the beginning. But anyway, they're out of the ash desert, they're back in the forest, and oh, Root, squirrel creature, little girl thing is back. There was a thing I really don't like this thing. But now we actually find out what it was there for, because now there's this kind of door in the sky, because they have unlocked a door, like the next level in this video game like thing that they're doing, and the root creatures kind of carry them through this door, so they are now gonna actually get to see the Heartseeker. And Tugdual points out that they're also going to see the Maleficents. And Gus once again has a go at him because he's saying things that are scary and like, oh my god. But once again, Tugdual is right, and he is basically pointing out that they don't have a plan and they don't have a clue what the Maleficents are and what they do. Like, they could have asked the magical creatures that live in this painting what they were and what they do, but no, because God forbid they find something out that might be a bit scary or have any kind of idea of what they're doing, because what could possibly go wrong? So they have to walk down a bunch of steps that just goes on and on forever, and they realise that they've been inside the painting for about 2.5 months at this point, which just doesn't, like, time doesn't go by in the same way, so for them it's just been like, how long has it been? Maybe a couple of days, but on the outside it's been 2.5 months, and now Oksa's 14. Wow. So that happens, and then they get to this wall, and again, I don't understand this, because this painting was supposed to be for Orphan McGraw, as we have already established on a number of occasions, and so like they there's no door to this wall, or there is a door but it can only be opened from the other side or something. So Tugdual tries to use his powers to go through the wall, but he fails, and obviously Gus takes the piss out of him. Gus takes the piss out of the guy who climbed down, what was it, 600 meters with his bare hands in order to save his life. Gus, what have you done at any point in this novel that gives you the right to criticize other people's powers or lack thereof? Like, what the hell is wrong with this character? I don't understand why Plichota and Wolf wrote him this way. He is so unlikable. And they're like, they have come all this way to save him, and he is just so ungrateful and just mean to Tugdual, and he warns Oksa against him for no reason. Like, he doesn't know anything about Tugdual, he doesn't know anything more than Oksa knows, so why the hell is he warning her about him? And he's just mean to him for no reason. Like, it doesn't even, like, he could be jealous of him, because maybe he loves Oksa in a kind of weird love triangle thing that YA seems to be obsessed with, but he, like, his emotions for Oksa are never explored. Like, we know that Tugdual likes her, and Gus is obviously her best friend, but his, like, emotional feelings for her, is he in love with her, that's never gone into at all. So we don't even know what Gus feels for Oksa, and if he is jealous of Tugdual. It's just all really weird and doesn't really make sense. So my big question at this point is, why is this wall even there? Because if Orphan McGraw was faced with this wall on his own, like he was supposed to be, he has the power to walk through solid matter, like Reminiscence and I believe Tugdual and Zoe are supposed to be able to do. So what is the point of having a door that can only be opened from the other side? Like, what is the point of having a wall in the first place if the person it's made for can just walk straight through it? So again, the whole reason this painting is the way it is would seem to be geared towards Oksa and her party, on not Orphan McGraw, which makes no fucking sense whatsoever, because the Heartseeker is out of action, so it couldn't have changed it. I don't understand. Or according to what we know, it is out of action and couldn't change this, even though it was trying to suck Gus and Oksa into the painting, or maybe it was Reminiscence trying to do that. I don't know. I am so confused. So after that, Tugdual and Reminiscence do manage to get through the wall and open the door from the other side. Okay. Liamido disappears, then they hear someone screaming. Tugdual and Reminiscence come back, and Tugdual says that he saw Liamido, like, traveling through, like, walking through solid matter the same as they did. And yeah, okay, like, he's not supposed to be able to do that. Oksa's like listening in on this weird conversation. Like, I don't understand. I don't know. Yeah. All of this brings us to chapter 48, where they finally get to the Heartseeker. And the Raven's back, because the Raven's like the emissary for the Heartseeker or whatever. And the Raven tells them that it explains to them how to defeat the Maleficents. So the Maleficents are there. We still don't know what they are or what they do, but apparently they're there. Okay. And the Raven tells them that the way they can defeat them is by not doing anything and just staying in the weird sort of yellow mist that has formed around the Heartseeker. I have two issues with this. First of all, the Raven is capable of explaining things, like, clearly. So what the fuck was the riddle for at the beginning? Because, like, I think it comes up briefly at one point, but, like, only a small part of it and not the whole entire riddle. So what was that for? My other question is, obviously they don't get to actually think up a way of defeating the Maleficents, because God forbid these characters actually do any kind of work, because they are so stupid they need another creature to explain to them what to do. At this point, I just give up. Like, there's just nothing, no brain cells. No, not even one brain cell to be shared around between them. And then the Raven once again explains that they have to destroy the Heartseeker by mixing all of their bloods in a vial and throwing it into the Heartseeker, and that's how they destroy it. I mean, I don't know. First of all, Oksa was supposed to be the only person there. Like, there was not supposed to be a group of them inside this painting, so How is this supposed to make any kind of sense? Oksa should have been the one to destroy the Heartseeker, because, like, the Heartseeker made her come into the painting, or Reminiscence made her come into the painting, or the Heartseeker manipulated Reminiscence to get her into the painting. I don't know. I don't understand this. But now suddenly, like, they need all of them? I am so exhausted. Chapter 49, they actually do fall out of the painting while it's at the top of Big Ben. And again, don't turn into pancakes. Like, Gus fell 600 meters and didn't turn into a pancake. I don't know how high Big Ben is. It's probably about 40 or 60 meters. So obviously, they don't. They're, like, nothing's going to happen to them. This isn't dangerous at all. So they just all start levitating or whatever. Pavel turns into a dragon and carries them all back to the apartment. And there's another massive, great big reunion scene, and but anyway, they get back to the apartment, at which point Oksa finds out that her mother's been abducted, and they realise that Liamido isn't there. So Liamido would apparently have been the one that I think it was Barry predicted was not going to return from the painting. So how the hell did he die? Like, I thought that he might have sacrificed himself to hold back the Maleficents, so that they could escape from the painting, or done something heroic like that. Like, I don't honestly care about Leomido as a character. He's like pretty much every character in this novel, completely useless. I don't know why he's there. He's just Dragomira's brother, Oksa's great uncle, I think, or yeah, whatever. Her grandmother's brother, and he doesn't really do anything. So now he's not there anymore, which doesn't really make a lot of difference. But they, like, oh my god, this chapter 50, is just so, like, everything up until this point has been pretty, like, insane and so stupid, but this chapter, like, beats everything. So the Raven arrives in the apartment because apparently the Raven can travel in and out of the painting. Since when? And how? And why? And where? And what? Don't ask questions. Just don't. I don't know. I don't know. Don't ask questions anymore. So the Raven comes into the apartment and says that the Ageless Ones are going to come to see them and explain why Leomido died. So the Ageless Ones are these kind of mystic creatures that live in Adifia, and they're kind of like gods, these kind of mythical, mystic beings that are like rule over everything and know everything. So apparently they can travel in and out of Adifia. Okay. So they turn up in their living room and tell them that Leomido did not sacrifice his life in order to help them escape the painting. He didn't do that. Because why would he? Why would anyone do anything heroic in this novel? Like, no one's ever done anything heroic. So why would it start now? Tugdual. No, Tugdual did something heroic. But he's the only one, because he's the only actual cool character in this. So Leomido found out that he and Dragomira and Reminiscence and Orphan apparently all have the same father. So he and Reminiscence are actually half brother and sister, which is why their parents didn't want them to be in a relationship. Which I have a lot of questions about, because Meloran, Dragomira's mother, Oksa's great-grandmother, and previous Queen of Adifia, once again made out to be this amazingly brilliant person, apparently had not one but two sets of twins. Like, when she is Orphan and Reminiscence mother. I'm sorry if I'm getting confused. There are so many characters and they're all useless. I get them all mixed up. So my question is, how did you manage to conceal a pregnancy of twins? Like, no one apparently knew about this. I know I know two people, in fact, who had twins. You can really tell. Like, you can really tell. How did she hide that? I don't know. So, Leomido had a son with Reminiscence without knowing that she was his sister, or his half-sister. And so, he committed suicide because he couldn't deal with that. And that's what, like, there is this giant wall of text that's about 4 pages long to explain all of this. I honestly don't care. Like, I know that YA has this weird fear of, like, brothers and sisters sleeping together, like in the Mortal Instruments and all the fuss that was made about that. Like, God forbid these people ever read Game of Thrones. Like, don't go near Game of Thrones and Blood and Fire, you will be really shocked. But, okay. I don't understand why Leomido is so upset by this. Especially, like, why he would go as far as committing suicide. Like, I really hate myself for saying this. Like, saying that someone in real life, I mean, commits suicide because of selfishness, that is something I really, really hate to hear. I will fight you if you think that. I will come and fight you. But I hate this because in this scenario, that really feels like what it is. It really feels like he is being selfish. Like, a person who has thoughts of suicide, these are people who go through depression, who go through terrible, terrible psychiatric issues, sometimes for years, like for long periods of time. And you can tell, like, oh my god, I hate this. I hate this so much because it feels like it is just, I don't know, just taking something as horrible and cruel as suicide and complicated and painful and just reducing it down to this, like, oh yeah, he couldn't deal with the fact that he had sex with his sister. Oh my god, like, his whole family are in danger. He has magical powers. They need him. And he's just like, yeah, oh my god, I had sex with my sister. Oh. This is so bad. But yeah, so the ageless ones go away, and then Pavel's really pissed with Dragomira because she let Marie be abducted, and I completely understand him. I actually understand Pavel a lot. Like, I really feel for him. I don't like it. I still don't like him, but I still kind of feel for him. Like, they are essentially keeping Oksa and Marie hostage, just so they can utilize Oksa. Like, that's what it feels like. So I completely understand why he's mad. Oksa also gets really mad, but doesn't set off a storm. So, how does her setting off storms when she gets angry work? Why? How does this happen? And then at the end of chapter 51, we get a bunch of news bulletins, just like articles telling us that there's a bunch of natural disasters going on. So floods, earthquakes, typhoons, volcanoes going off. There's a bunch of stuff happening all over the world. Now, that would have been a really great place to end the novel. That would have been really good, because then we could have just moved on to book 3. How do we rescue Marie? There's even a character called Neftali, who I think is one of Tugdual's grandparents. I can't remember. I can't remember if they're male or female, but this character actually says that they have a plan for rescuing Marie, because finally someone actually has a plan. Where was this character for like the rest of the novel? I don't know. I haven't really noticed them until this point because they have been irrelevant up until now. They've been around. I've seen the name before, but like so many others, just like there for decoration, I guess, just to say we got a bunch of characters. They don't do anything, but they're there. We wrote some characters. Yeah. Do we ever get to find out what that plan is before the end of this novel? No. Because I naively thought that given that there's like, what are we on? Page 287 out of 363. There's a bit more than 80 pages left. I naively no, there's less than that. Yeah, no, yeah, 80 pages. I naively thought that they would devote the rest of the book to saving Marie. Because what else could they possibly do? They don't. They don't try and save Marie, and we never find out what Neftali's plan is. Also, from this point on, we never really hear about the painting again. So all of that happens and doesn't really have any consequence on anything. Like, the only thing we know is that Orphan McGraw's still alive. But that didn't even come from, like, within the painting. And, like, what happened to the painting and all the creatures that lived inside it? Because are they still at the top of Big Ben? Somebody's gonna find them. What happens if they destroy the painting? What happens to this entire ecosystem that lives inside this painting? There's no kind of discussion about the morals of that or what to do. Like, oh, I don't know. Why do the ageless ones care so much about incest? and like what happened to Liamido. I'll get back to that later on. I was really bugged by that. We never find out where the singing was coming from, like when they're walking through the ash desert and they start hearing this song. What was that about? What? I don't know. So chapter 52. So yeah, Dragomira is really upset because her son is mad at her, and he's got like really good reason to be mad, and she wants to give up. All hail Dragomira, the queen of Adithia, who just like, oh, my son doesn't like me anymore, so I'm gonna give up. Wow, you are such an inspiration. Oksa has to go back to school. Why? Why? What is it about sending the kids back to school? Surely they've got bigger issues. So she's really angry because her mother's missing. Pavel takes her back to school. She also gets really angry again, but again, no storm happens. So I'm guessing the authors just forgot that she could do that. Like, it's not relevant to the plot anymore. She doesn't need to set off storms for plot purposes, so now she can just get angry and no storm happens. Like, it doesn't matter anymore. So they all get back to school, and Zoe's there, and Zelda's there, remember her? And obviously Merlin. And Oksa actually thanks Merlin for what he did. So I think he's the only one who actually gets some kind of decent thank you in this book, even though Dragomira really put him in danger. I don't know. So chapter 53, yeah, they all get home, like, they all get back to school. And teenage drama happens. I don't know, like, the bully girl whose name Hilda is it? She's nice now and she's trying to seduce Merlin. She's after again. They're just all these characters are interchangeable because they're so useless. Oh my god, this next bit I'd forgotten about this. Yeah, so Oksa and Gusk, because they've been away while school was happening, they have to catch up with the classes they've missed. So they have like this special class with one of their teachers. It's just the two of them and her. And Gus says, oh, I wish I had an Excelsior Capacitator, which is one of Dragomira's potions for kind of enhancing the mind. And the teacher's like, oh, what's that? And Gus says, oh, it's just this like stimulating thing that Dragomira does. This is the same teacher that Dragomira saved, by the way. So she kind of supposedly should know about Dragomira's homeopathy. And the teacher's reaction to Oksa's explanation is weird because she just says, oh, I hope it's nothing illegal. Now, why would your brain automatically jump there? We're talking about Dragomira, right? Person who saved you, like, not saved your life, but saved your mind, it would appear. And why are you automatically jumping to illegal substances? Bit odd. But Oksa's answer is even better than that. And this is, it makes me laugh in the sense that I don't know how you can write stuff like this and read it back and be like, yeah, this is fine. This completely makes sense, especially as two people worked on this book. Oksa's answer is, no, don't worry. It's all 100% natural. What? Like, how the fuck is that supposed to be reassuring? This is happening in London, and I'll tell you what's 100% natural and also 100% illegal in London, and that is weed, cannabis, hemp. Like, it's a plant. It's natural. It occurs in nature. But if you own some of it, you will get arrested. So saying that something is natural does not mean that it's not illegal. There are plenty of stuff that are illegal and that are completely natural. And the other thing that drives me up the wall is there are these people out there who believe The word natural is synonymous with something that is good. Like, if it occurs in nature, then it is automatically good. It's not. Like, I'll give you a list of stuff that occurs in nature. Cyanide. If you eat cyanide, you will die. Mercury. Also, you will die if you ingest that. Uranium. You can mine it. It was even, suggested to children in the US that they should do this back in the 50s. So, that happens. Snake poison. There's a bunch of plants in your garden. Like, poinsettia leaves are poisonous. There are so many plants out there that are deadly, but are 100% natural. So it makes me really angry when people are like, oh, I think it was the Illuminati made a video about this. If you want more information about this, I'll link that in the description, because she explained this all really well. But I completely agree. Like, stop using the word natural as a synonym to something that is good or something that is not illegal in this case. So yeah, I am kind of worried because Plichota and Wolf do kind of come across as the kind of people who do actually want to push homeopathy and want to push the idea that, oh, nature is so good even though it contains snake poison. I don't know. I don't really understand this kind of thing. But yeah, this is not the kind of thing you want to be pushing at children. Like, this is second grade stuff. Be careful when you're writing for second grade kids. Like, this kind of stuff can be misinterpreted. Yeah, I quibble with this kind of thing. Obviously, it made me laugh a lot because I'm an adult and I understand this, but children don't. Like, I don't know if my 12-year-old, my 12-year-old thinks this book is terrible. Like, probably even, she thinks it's hilarious. Like, she thinks it's so bad it's hilarious. She hasn't read all of it, but the bits that she has read, she's just pulling her hair out with frustration as much as me. But I don't know if she kind of understands this in that way. So, yeah, very odd moment here. Chapter 54 is weird. Zelda and Hilda are fighting over Merlin. It ends with, I think, Hilda squirting an ink cartridge over Zelda's blouse, and the teacher tells her to go off and get a clean one. Oksa decides to go with her for some reason, and then realizes that Zelda is in fact Orphan McGraw. I don't know how she figures this out, but apparently Orphan McGraw has possessed the body of this. That sounds wrong. He has entered. His spirit has entered. I don't know how to make this sound not weird. I don't know what it is with this novel and 70-plus-year-old men being in close proximity with 13-year-olds' bodies. It's weird and disgusting, and I would like it to stop, but apparently Orphan McGraw has taken possession of Zelda's body. And now, afterwards, chapter 55, they summon everyone to... Oh yeah, Zoe... No, hang on. Oh, I don't know, but yeah, the Zelda / Orphan decides to accompany Oksa, Merlin, Gus, Zoe, and I think that's it, back to the Pollock clan's headquarters. So Oksa manages to make Zoe understand what's going on, but Merlin and Gus are just confused. They don't understand. So they all get back to the apartment. At no point does Oksa get her phone and send a text to Dragomir or Abakum or anyone to say, oh, by the way, Orphan McGraw's coming. Nobody warns them. But when they arrive at the apartment, Abakum is already waiting outside, and everyone inside the apartment is totally aware of what's going on, and they're all ready for Orphan. How? How do they know? They don't know anything, these characters. They are stupid as hell, but they know that Arthur McGraw is about to walk into their apartment in the form of a 13-year-old girl without having, like, how did they know this? Was it Barry? We never find out, like so many other things in this book. We don't know. So Oksa freaks out Orphan by telling him that they're gonna go back to Adithia, and he's like, no, you can't possibly do that. And I'm like, why not? Why couldn't they? Because, like, it's not like Marie can go there anyway, so they might as well. Then Orphan tries to attack Oksa. They try and get him out of Zelda's body. That sounds wrong. They do actually get him out of Zelda's body. It really sounds wrong. I'm so sorry, but that's what happens. They extract his spirit or mind or whatever from the body of this poor 13-year-old girl who didn't ask for any of this. So yeah. So then he tries to attack Oksa, but Pavel jumps in the way, and then Tugdual jumps in the way because God forbid Oksa actually get to do anything on her own. He brushes past her and knocks her unconscious. Also tries to convince Tugdual to come over to the dark side. Why? What's so... I don't care. Tugdual turns him down. And then Pavel has a mother-related midlife crisis and blames Dragomira for everything that has happened since the beginning of this book. Pavel, you are being insanely irrational. Like, okay, she's responsible for some things, but not everything. Or at least I don't want to analyse what she may or may not be responsible for. So I'm just gonna give that one a miss. And then she gives Oksa a potion and revives her. So apparently Arthur McGraw here was once again trying to kill Oksa. And I don't understand why. But yeah, I don't understand anything about this novel, so I guess that doesn't really make a lot of difference to anything. Chapter 57 is very scary. So there have been some moments up until this point where Oksa has been quite terrifying. Like, she is quite, not the person I would make queen. But Zelda wakes up and Dragomira uses one of her magical pellets from her blowpipe, because that's what they use in this world instead of wands, which is hilarious, but okay. So she uses one of the, magical pellets to erase Zelda's memory of what happened and change her memory and, give her different memories of the events that occurred. Oksa is very excited about this. This is a magical pellet that only the queen can use. So Dragomir is still the official queen, apparently. Maybe, I don't know. But she's really excited about getting to be able to play. This is actually what it says. Play with this pellet when she becomes queen and she's allowed to use it. Oksa is excited about the idea of fiddling around with her friend's memories. I want Tugdual to be king. So then Dragomira performs the spell that I think is supposed to modify Zelda's memories or replace her old memories with new memories. The thing is, there's no conversation about what these memories actually are. What does she now think happened? Because you'd think that they would need to know, in case she ever referred to this again, so that it didn't get weird at any point. But no, apparently it doesn't matter what the hell she remembers. There's no conversation about this. Dragomira doesn't even ask her, how much she remembered or how much she'd understood about what happened. So she's just like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and once again, don't ask questions, just don't ask questions. Just Dragomira knows best, apparently. And then she asked Tugdual to take Zelda back to her home, which I thought was actually quite sweet. I thought, wow, they're actually trusting Tugdual to actually do something to accompany this girl back to her house. But no, they actually just want him out of the way so they can talk about him behind his back. Because of what Orphan said to him after, like, come over to the dark side. Despite the fact that he said no and has just told Orthon to fuck off, they are still worried that he's gonna go and join Orthon. What are they basing this on? Dunno. There's no conversation about his past or what he did, so we still don't actually know for certain what he has done in his, like, cult leader-ish past. So I'm still, their behavior towards him is just so appalling. Even his grandparents don't defend him. In fact, they're like, yeah, he's gonna totally go over to Orthon. Like, we can't trust him. Oh god, it hurts so much. This poor character, it is mortifying how appallingly they treat him, and these are supposed to be the nice guys. Like, they're supposed to be the ones that we're rooting for. I'm just rooting for Tugdual. Like, I honestly don't even care at this point what he's done in his past, because he's obviously moved on from that in quite a big way. Plus, he's the only character who's actually got a few working brain cells, which isn't saying a lot. Like, he's not over smart, but, like, the Pollock clan set the bar so low that he comes out as a fucking genius. So then we get just a bunch of boring nonsense where Merlin talks about how Hilda was really weird, and Dragomira says that she knew that Zelda was weird for a while and that there was something wrong. Yeah. Merlin mentions that Orphan apparently tried to possess his body. Why? Why is he going after the teenagers? I don't know. But yeah, and they start speculating again about why Orphan possessed Zelda and not Merlin, and apparently Merlin has hemophilia. Do you know about this, Dragomira, when you gave him the painting? I don't know. But yeah, so they just think, oh yeah, well, he's got hemophilia, that's why Orphan didn't, like, use his body and went for Zelda instead. That makes no fucking sense. They don't have a shred of evidence for this, but that's what they do. They just make speculations and go along with them, even when they turn out to be wrong, which they do. How do you know this? It's just, oh, I hate it. Then Oksa starts complaining that they didn't get any information about Marie out of Orphan. How do they even expect him to know where she is? Like, they don't even know at this point whether his spiritual form, I guess, has actually had any contact with the living felons. So why would they even hope for any information about Marie? Like, how do they know he's not just acting on his own? That's never, because he doesn't mention any of the other felons. Like, they imply that Oksa saying they're going back to Edithia was a ruse. Aren't they planning to go back there? Like, what? So anyway, chapter 58. Tugdual comes into Oksa's room and congratulates her for acting really well, faced with Orson McGraw. Like, she did really well. She didn't do anything. Like, that's the whole point of this character. She doesn't do anything. She was just standing there. So then he asked her, like, what it was like, what it felt like when Orphan touched her. I've got a lot to say about this chapter, but I'm going to keep it short. Basically, Tugdual seems genuinely interested in her experience and really seems to want to help her try and get over it, which is nice. And then they kiss, and oh, Tugdual, you can do so much better than her, like, seriously. He also implies that she's way more powerful than anyone thinks she is. A, how does he know? B, we are yet to see her do anything. So, I'm sure she's way more powerful than we have seen so far, because, like anything, a moth is more powerful than her at this point. But Gus walks in and he sees them kissing and he runs away and starts sulking because that's what he does best. And yeah, Alex is like, oh no, I've hurt Gus. Blah, 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 blah. There's no mention of Marie. Like, what do we do? Is anyone gonna try and save her at any point? No, no one seems to care. Sorry, Marie. Tough. Chapter 59. Oksa goes running downstairs after Gus because she feels bad about hurting him. So good, she's got some kind of heart in there. Wow. But before she gets to talk to him, she hears voices from the living room, and the adults are watching the news reports about all the natural disasters that are going on all around the world. See? Natural disasters. Nature not always good. Yeah. And I love this because Oksa at this point like sees all the weather reports and like all the storms going off, and her immediate response is, oh, it's not me. So Plichota and Wolf suddenly remembered that Oksa sets off the weather when she gets angry. Sometimes, not all the time. We don't know how this works. It works occasionally, maybe. I don't know. So then, this is also a really weird chapter. Like, a lot of really weird stuff gets said. Abakum says that, oh yeah, for forever men have not been treating the earth properly, and we get another kind of hippie rant about nature, butterflies. Yeah, look after the planet. And then he says that the reason that the weather's going off is because Edithia, which is the heart of the world, apparently, is not going well. Now, what is the link between that and men, like, not looking after the earth properly? I don't get it. The other thing I don't understand is why didn't the ageless ones mention this when they came to visit them? Because they seemed way more preoccupied with why Liamido died, which literally no one cares about. I did not care. This character was useless, now he's gone. Great, that is one less useless character to have to cover. I am very grateful for the fact that he's gone. But they, like, completely failed to mention that Edithia was gonna blow up the planet. I mean, it kind of seems ironic that Abakum is moaning about how men are not looking after the planet when his own country is the reason it's gonna be destroyed. Like, the problem here is not with the humans messing up the planet, it's with Edithia, dude. But that's okay. Like, Edithia, oh yeah, that Edithia can destroy the planet, that's fine. We don't criticize that, but human beings, bad. But yeah, the ageless ones, like, do they just care about gossip? Is that what they're about? Do they just, like, sit round a table gossiping about all the, like, relationships in Edithia? Like, did you know that Liamido has slept with Reminiscence, his half-sister? I know, and they, like, don't even know that they're brother and sister. Oh, the world's blowing up. Oh yeah, but you know, like, brother and sister sleeping together, that's hot news, girl. We're gonna go and report on that. Edithia is so fucked up. Like, I don't know why they want to go back there. So then we get Barry, the house elf, comes in. He's not a house elf, okay? They're called Foldango in this book, but I just call them that because it's easier. But yeah, so he comes in and tells them that they need to go back to Edithia, and only Dragomira and Oksa can save the world. So the future of the planet is in the hands of a delusional OAP and a useless teenager. God help us all. Chapter 60 is also pretty bad. Gus has a fight with Tugdual, and then Gus storms. Then Oksa has a fight with Tugdual, and she tells him that he went too far, and, like, Gus was the one that started it, like he always does. I mean, I understand Tugdual for being frustrated with him, but then Oksa goes to her room and Zoe comes in. Bearing in mind that Oksa's the one who attacked Tugdual, but then Zoe comes in and blames Tugdual for Oksa attacking him and tells her that he is a bad influence on her because look at what he made you do. Appalling advice here from Zoe, who is making Tugdual responsible for Oksa's behavior. Like, what the fuck? Like, Oksa is, what, is she so fucking perfect that she's not even accountable for her own behavior? Is that why no one's, like, doing anything like her setting off massive, great big storms that could potentially destroy a neighborhood? Because, oh yeah, but it's not her fault. Because, like, someone else made her do it. Because she's so perfect. Like, she would never do that. Oksa is going to be queen of Adithia. She needs to learn how to take responsibility for her actions and not blame other people for getting mad or whatever, like attacking people. Like, Zoe even tells her that, like, when Gus storms out, apparently she let him storm out because of Tugdual, and, like, she wouldn't have let him do that if Tugdual hadn't been there. I don't understand. I just don't understand. So yeah, chapter 61. We're nearly at the end. We're nearly at the end. There's 66 chapters. We are at chapter 61. We are nearly there. We are nearly there. There's quite a lot of typos in this chapter for some reason. There's quite a lot of chapters in a lot of the book, but this one, like, it's mainly stuff like this. Like, this is C. I don't know if you can see. Say, right here, CCS, it says. It's supposed to be CES. There's a lot of that in this book, which is weird because this is not like something that was published on Amazon. Like, originally it was. Originally the series was published on the internet, but this is XO editions in France, which is quite a decent publishing company. Like, they're the same people who published Max Gallo, who's a member of the French Academy and a specialist on World War II and World War One. And it hurts that this is the same editor, but okay. So yeah, chapter 61. We're nearly there. Zelda meets up with Mortimer. I think there's quite a big paragraph about Leomido and reminiscence again, and the fact Zoe is born from incest. Like, she apparently feels guilty about that for some reason. Like, what did she do? Like, poor girl. I feel for her. So Mortimer, Orphan's son that we previously thought was her brother, but it's actually not her brother, and blah blah blah. Like, the family tree in this is complicated. But anyway, she meets up with him. He proposes to her to go and join the Felons. She has been conflicted because she doesn't know whether she should be more useful to the Felons than she should to the Pollocks, because apparently she has no notion of right and wrong. This is odd. Like, I also kind of understand her because I honestly don't really see a lot of difference between what the Felons do and what the Pollocks do. Like, the Pollocks are allowed to do horrible things because they're the good guys. And they don't have, like, it could work. It could work if there was actually a conversation about handing over the painting to a 13-year-old and the morals of this, and this boy, and the fact that he has haemophilia and he's done nothing to, he hasn't asked for any of this, he knows nothing about the world, about putting him in danger in the way he is. Like, he had a man trying to break into his house and potentially harm him. Is he still in danger? It could work if there was a conversation about this, but there just wasn't. It was just Dragomira knows best, and that's it. But the Felons, at this point, they have abducted Marie. I don't understand why they did this, because, like, there is no way the Pollocks are going to exchange Marie for Oksa. Because Marie, again, I'm sorry, Marie, but your family just sucks, right? You should have left in book one. You should have left when you had a chance in book one, when you found out about all of this shit. You should have just got your things and said, that's it, I'm leaving. Because again, would have been one less character to cover that is also pretty useless. I feel for Marie, but I'm afraid she is useless. And I don't understand why the Felons abducted her, because like she is not important to the Pollock clan in any way, other than the fact that she is Oksa's mother. She does not have any magic powers. She's just a normal, ordinary human, and she has no value in any of their endeavors whatsoever. So I don't know. I don't know why they took her, but apparently they can treat her better than the Pollocks could. So maybe Marie is actually better with the Felons and she should stay there. I don't know. But anyway, Zoe does decide to stay with the Pollocks, that her place is with them and not with the Felons. Mortimer also says that they needed her to stay with the Pollocks for some reason. Because apparently that was intentional, that she was to go and live with them. Why? Why was that useful in any way? Like, she didn't know that she was supposed to go there. So she couldn't act as a spy for them because she wasn't reporting back to anyone. She was just living with them, just being there, just existing like Oksa exists for just reasons. Like, as if that explains anything. Again, this makes no fucking sense. To Marie was poisoned. It's still not clear whether or not she knew. Apparently she feels bad about it, which is good. It implies that she has some kind of morals and you know, a heart of some kind. But yeah, afterwards we get to chapter 62. Nothing interesting happens in this chapter. We just get to find out that Marie is still safe. There's a conversation about her and that like they know that the Felons are not going to hurt her for some reason. They know that she's safe. Why wouldn't the Felons hurt her? Like, how do they know this? Same as they just know everything else, I guess. Because they just do, because they're magic. Chapter 63 is another weird one. Apparently Orphan's dad wanted Reminiscence to be queen. That didn't go well. He also wanted Liamido to be his son. That also didn't go well. They talk about just weird, like they talk about trying to kill Orphan again, but they tried to kill him once and that didn't go well either. This whole chapter is basically a bunch of conversations that are once again really long and boring, and them just speculating about stuff they have no evidence for pages and pages and pages about a bunch of stuff that they basically messed up and didn't work for them. Chapter 64, we're almost done. So in this chapter, the sea levels, we're told the sea levels rise by 3 meters and London starts getting flooded. And I looked this up. That is actually what would happen if the sea levels were to rise by this much. London would indeed be completely flooded. So congratulations, Plichota and Wolf, you actually got something right. Wow. Yeah, so then they start packing. This chapter, I actually appreciated this one because you get to see them packing up in an emergency, which apparently they've done before on a number of occasions. But here we actually get to see them doing it. So Dragomira has to gather up all her animals, all her plants. They have to get all their things together. So yeah, this is actually a pretty good chapter. I was actually pretty satisfied with. So Oksa goes into her room to pack, and she's got this rock that she wants to take, and she's like holding it in her hand, like, oh my god, do I take my rock or do I not take my rock? Because her pet rock, I guess, I don't know. Tugdual comes in because he's so efficient. He's already finished packing. Brilliant. And he starts giving her advice. He tells her to take warm sweaters and thick socks, which is really good advice, because Tugdual, full of good advice. Really great character. Love him. And she moans at him because, oh, you're not very sentimental, and like, I'm a stroppy teenager, so I need I need my pet rock. And he's like, well, once again comes back with good advice and says, well, take photographs because they're light and they don't take up much room. Tigdual, the voice of fucking common sense. Like, he's basically stating the fucking obvious at this point, but because the other characters are so moronic, he comes across a freaking genius. So then they will pile onto Pavel's back in dragon form. Oh, Gus has a tantrum. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. Because obviously he chooses the perfect moment to have a fucking tantrum. And he's like, oh, but I don't have any magic powers, so you don't care about me, do you? And I'm like, useless and blah, blah, blah. And yes, Gus, you are fucking useless. But, you know, his parents could kind of sit him down after everything he's been through and tell him that they love him and that they adopted him because they chose him. But no, they just let him be miserable. And then chapter 66 happens and they all fly away on Pavel's back, Pavel in dragon form, and go to, I think it's Leomido's home in Wales, because apparently it's higher up and it won't be flooded. And that's it. That's the end of the book. That is the end of this absolute misery that it was to read. That was The Forest of Lost Souls by Oksa Pollock. Now, I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions. And I get, this series is 6 books long. So I get that some of the questions are probably going to be answered in, the next books. For instance, when the Aegis ones come and tell them about Leomido and Reminiscence being brother and sister, this apparently is what Orphan told Dragomira at the end of book 1. This is why he asked her to come over to his house, being like, oh, I've got something really important to tell you concerning Leomido. This is what he told her. It still doesn't explain why she went, but apparently that's what he actually did have something important to tell her. Okay. So apparently stuff does get explained later on. It is not stuff I actually care about to any extent, but it gets explained. But I have a feeling that a lot of these questions are just never going to get answered, because all the stuff that happened in the painting, what was Pavel's vision of Oksa and the hair about? What was the fucking ice waterfall about? What happened to the painting? Like, what was all that about? What was all, like, 2/3 of this novel about? What was it for? We don't know. But just other stuff, like Tigdual, poor little Tigdual. They treat him like absolute shit. They are so convinced that he is going to turn over to the enemies, so they keep on treating him like shit, hoping that he's not gonna do that. Like, the more you treat him like a piece of shit, the more he's gonna want to betray you. The more he's gonna think, okay, you know what, you're horrible people, because they are, and I'm gonna turn my back on you and go my own way and either join the Falons or go off and do something else. It's basically what Whelan was doing to Kira in the Knights of Emerald series, which I really didn't appreciate, especially after being told that these characters are supposed to be so bright. They are stupid as hell. Why are they so stupid? It can work. Like, writing characters that are stupid, like, I've just read Predator's Gold by Philip Reeve, and, like, the characters in there, Freya is stupid as fuck, but it is understandable why she is that way. Tom is really naive. It is understandable why he is that way, given the context of the world that they live in. I'll talk more about that in the video I make about it. But in this, why are we supposed to be rooting for these people? So I've just realised that I've managed to delete the final part of this video that I'd filmed previously, because apparently this review has not finished, like, making a mess of my life. But yeah, basically, I don't really understand what this book is supposed to be. I'm not quite sure what the moral is. Like, there's some things about Oksa and Gus's friendship, but it's very odd. and nothing's really made of it. Yeah, poor little Tigdual just being treated like shit, and we don't really know why. And all these characters, like, this book has so many characters, and they are all interchangeable. They have no personalities. They're not really there for any reason apart from to say Oksa's got a family and they all love her. And that is, for me, the biggest problem with this book, is that Oksa is so, just so, you know, bigged up by her family, and the fact that she has this family and they all love her. There's nothing wrong with having a main character who has a big and loving family, but the problem is they just are always with her, and they're always behind her, and they're always kind of encouraging her, and it just turns her into a Mary Sue, and she therefore doesn't get to do anything on her own. And it would have been fun, like, had it didn't need much, like, to make it into an actual fun, engaging novel. All it needed was for that scene at the beginning when Oksa is told that she can't go into the painting to save Gus. When she storms off into her room, it would have been great, like, had she gone to Tigdual and Zoe and said, look, the adults won't go and save Gus because they're afraid of everything. We're reckless teenagers. We're going to go into the painting and save him together. So it would have been, you know, Oksa, Tigdual, and Zoe being independent and emancipating themselves from the adults, and actually moving the story forwards and actually making a genuine, engaging, and exciting story, instead of having this whatever this is. So, you know, and again, it's not hard, and because, like, the Mortal Instruments did this so well. Whenever Jace, Clary, Simon, Isabel, and Alec have to go and do something, they've got a family, these people. But they always make it very clear why, the books always make it very clear why they can't, like, go with what their families are doing, why they can't utilise their families, because they have all this, like, adult bureaucracy, and it takes time, and it has to be approved, and they're like, no, we're going to do this now. And it works. So yeah, Oksa is just a boring, bland character who has near to no personality. We're told that she's great. We don't know why. We're told that she's really powerful. We are yet to see her do anything. And even all the other characters, like Leomido, dies. I don't care. Like, this character has done nothing since the beginning of this series. I really don't care about him. Dragomira turns out to be a horrible person, yet she's supposed to be one of the good guys. And again, it would work, like, if she had to do, like, bad things for good reasons and kind of make some kind of moral thing out of it, but they just don't. They're just, oh yeah, Dragomira, you're so brilliant, just do whatever. The book also sets up a number of things, like Pavel's dragon thing, like how he is so scared of turning into a dragon because, oh my god, I can't control this power and it's overwhelming. Yet when he does turn into a dragon the first time, he has no issue whatsoever controlling his powers. So what was all that about? Like, this book basically made every single mistake it is possible to make when writing a novel. But yeah, for me at least, it is the worst thing I have ever read anywhere ever. So that hopefully is the conclusion to Oksa Pollock and the Forest of Lost Souls. I don't even know why it's called the Forest of Lost Souls. It's got a forest, but you can't get lost in it, and they're not souls, so I don't really understand even the title of this book. So yeah, that was it. I've got two books, book 3 and book 4 waiting. I do want to read book 3. I do want to kind of see how stupid these characters can get, and just how nonsensical and weird the plot can get, if you can call it a plot. Yeah, I guess I just want to see what happens and how insane this universe can go. So I will read book 3 at some point in the future and probably come back for an insane review like this one. So on the basis of that, thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, congratulations. And I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.